everybody, it's Dana. I wanted to show you real quick how to do this real pretty stitch. It's called the Eyelet Moss Stitch. Makes a really pretty, I don't know if you can see I'm trying to get it so you can see the eyelets there. Very pretty little eyelets, and the beauty of this stitch to me is that there's no moving stitches around. You don't have to like knit two together or purl two together. The only stitches you need to know how to do are E-wrap knits and purls. So let me get set up here and I'll show you real quick the 4 rows that make up the Eyelet Moss Stitch. Okay, here we go. I am working with the Knitting Board's hat loom and just a worsted weight yarn. I've already cast on and knit a few of the repeats, the pattern, just so you can see how pretty the fabric was. What I would suggest on this one, because of the purl stitches only show up in every other row, and I like to knit my purls going from left to right because then I'm left-handed, so the yarn is leading my hand. If you're right-handed, you'll want to knit purls from right to left to make it easier. So in this pattern then, when you cast on, I would cast on in the opposite direction I normally cast on. Normally I cast on from left to right, but because of where the purls are in this, I'm suggesting, and then this is what I'm going to do, is always cast on the opposite direction I normally would. So in this case, me being left-handed, I'm going to cast on from the right side and go to the left. You cast on an odd number of stitches. I'm going to stick in the comments of this video how to knit this if you're knitting a flat panel, and also how to knit it if you're knitting in the round. If you're knitting in the round, you need to knit an even number of stitches. But when you're knitting a flat panel, you want odd numbers. So I cast it on from right to left, 11 stitches. The first row is real easy. All of these I'm going to skip or slip the first peg to make a nice even edge. And then we purl one, knit one. Now if I've just cast on, you can see right now I do have 2 loops on some of these. If I just cast it, let's pretend I've just cast on, so I will just have 1 loop on all of these. But when you come to them, if there are 2 loops on the peg, knit 2 off as though they were 1. And it'll make sense once you get going on your own. Anyway, so row 1 is just slip 1, purl 1, and we're going to purl the 2 strands as though they are 1. And then E-wrap knit 1. So that's E-wrap that one. And again, that's how we do this row. Purl, E-wrap knit. And all of our knits in this pattern are E-wrap knits. So knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, and then to the last stitch we knit. Just knit the last stitch. Okay? That's row 1. Row 2. We skip the first stitch. Again, I always do that so I get a real nice pretty edge. I'm going to skip the first stitch, and then we knit 1. So E-wrap knit 1. And then yarn over 1. So that just means you lay the yarn over that peg and you do nothing to it. It's just a yarn over, it just sits there. E-wrap 1, yarn over 1, 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 E-wrap 1, E-wrap 2. Okay, and that's it for row 2. Row 3, again, we're going to skip the first peg. I'm going to knit 1 and then purl. So one of the things that you will notice as you're working this pattern is on all these rows where you knit, purl, you E-wrap knit, you're always purling a row that has 2 strands of yarn. Or you're always purling the peg that has 2 strands of yarn. So if you're going along and you're not, if you're accidentally purling this one, you're out of sequence somewhere and your pattern won't work. Okay, so knit, purl, knit, purl, and knit 2. And our final row, row number 4 then, is simply yarn over, so skip 1, yarn over, knit 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 1, yarn over, and knit 1, and that's row 4. So then you just repeat rows 1 through 4 and end up with the Eyelet Moss Stitch.